believe in life after death?
I believe it because I have had experiences that have shown me that reality. And in my book, there's a chapter called Metaphysics of the Human Body. I am explaining the journey of the soul. And the limit of this book is because it's just on health, I don't talk of the afterlife much in it. Okay, but I'm writing a book on spirituality that should be out in June or July this year, where I will be talking about this entire cycle. When we leave our physical vehicle and our soul leaves the body, some things to make it more understandable for people, the feeling that you left with, those emotions that you left with, how do they charge your astral body or your soul? And after that, where does it take that charge and those memories and go? And what does it do with it, and how does it come back? I had my first out-of-body experiences somewhere in 2010. So that was 10 years back, where I saw this reality that my physical body was lying next to my bed and my astral body was completely out and I could see it. And then it went back. The moment, I spent a few seconds, maybe about 30 seconds out of it. And then I went back into it automatically because I got a bit scared, I was completely awake. There was a therapist friend of mine who was sending me healing from Pune. And that time I was in Mumbai. And the healing was so nice that it completely relaxed my mind and body. And I was completely conscious at that time. And in that moment of complete relaxation and bliss, that's when this out-of-body experience happened. Like I said, it just felt like an energy flow and my presence was somewhere else. And I could feel like, it's a liquid body. And I could see my physical body there on the bed. I just imagined that at that time, is my body light? And just that thought by itself, my body started floating upwards. Then I had the thought, oh, is it heavy? And it started coming down to the bed. I understood that the energy body is so programmable by intention and thought, you see, and feeling. And just after that, I got a bit scared that, hey, what's going on? And it just went in automatically. I didn't have to do anything. Right. And then I repeated that experience on my own by certain techniques. I think there's a book, 99 ways to astral project or 101 ways to astral project. I read that book, I did some practices, and then just within a year itself, I had 2 out-of-body experiences again. I speak convincingly on certain topics because I have experienced them, and it's not just by reading or some notion or some belief about them. I have had other experience also of non-physical beings that are more spirit and energy beings. So I have seen how, what that astral frame looks like as well. My book on health that's already out there, I have explained this, process of when does the soul come into the human body and why. In the 3rd or 4th week of conception, where does it go? Why does it go and reside at the base of the spine? And when your physical body cannot contain this soul anymore, and it gets sickened to a certain extent, then the soul itself cannot function, and then it leaves the human body, and that's what we call death.
Right.
There is a topic also of past lives, and there are a lot of debates on it.
Correct. But talking about reincarnation, there are so many signs. Say, for example, a pregnant lady who during their pregnancy start disliking certain kind of foods, which they loved before. Is it that the soul who has passed and has gone to the other astral worlds and then it's come back into a body, isn't that proof that it's carrying that like or that dislike of its past life into this life? It is so strange that only those 7 months when the mother is carrying that child, the soul, that she is experiencing that kind of an aversion. So would that not be proof?
That is one indicator. Now, those people who have done the experiment or had the experience of an astral body will know what a soul is like, how it feels, and that it has intentions and it has emotions.
What if, since you say you had some kind of an experience, how would you describe a soul? Is it a physical form like we are? Is it air? Is it whiff of some smoke? Or
This energy form. So I have got three names for it. Sometimes I call it a soul, sometimes I call it a spirit, and sometimes I call it an astral body. So the process that happens is that when, let's for example say when it was inside my body and I had that experience, right, of coming out of my body, that's when I refer to it as my astral body. Okay, and it's got all the five senses. Sometimes those senses in some people are pretty strong. And because it's energy, it can travel and it can see things in other places. Some gifted people, we say they have clairvoyance because that's sight.
right.
Okay. Then there is Clair-gustance, and they can taste certain things around.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah. So there's Clair-gustance, there's Clair-olfactance, which is nose, that is, you can smell something that's not in your vicinity, but you are smelling it from somewhere else in a distance. Then there's Clair-sentience, which is touch. And Clair-audience, okay, which is
Sound.
sound. Some people can hear some talk or some soul calling, but it's not there in the physical realm. Some people in deep meditations, they have heard singing and chanting and music in higher dimensions. So once you have some of these experiences, you come not with the belief, but with the understanding of the experience. Okay, so some people speak from belief and some people speak from experience. So that's when I call it, when you experience yourself in its astral form, I call it an astral body. Now, after life is done and over with, and you leave suddenly, but it's not a very highly charged or disturbed exit. If it's somebody who was trying to do something very strongly at the time of death and they died at that time, that charge remains in the body. So when the charge remains in the body, means that that astral framework still holds form. Because there is some emotion, there is some energy, and it wants to do something. So it still holds form. And that is what we have seen, or we call as a spirit or a ghost. It's been shown since decades, in Indian movies, the lady, the ghost spirit lady walking on the road in her marriage dress, and then they figure out that she died on her wedding day or just after the marriage, some car hit her and all of that. And some people know that these are no jokes because they have experienced such spirits themselves in their lives. It's not just coming from
Someone's imagination.
In fact, my own uncle who lived in this ancestral house of mine, he had told us of one such experience of a lady sitting right next to him and she was not physical at all. This is there, everywhere in village folklore, people have had these experiences. And now it's become scientific too, scientific instruments checking and even doing the videography of these, spirits. So I call it a spirit then when it is still got some intention, it has still got some charge. And I've heard thousands of experiences because it's been over a decade that I'm working with healers, therapists, shamans, psychic people. So they do a lot of this work because they have the capacity and capability of seeing these entities. So that's when I call it a spirit, you see. If there is no charge left in that person, then gradually that energy that is called the soul, it leaves this form and it drops the form. And then you can call it like a sphere of energy. And people have called it as orbs. Some of my videos of my workshops, in the workshop itself, you can see these orbs.
I spoke to a psychic lady from the UK. She's an actress, and she gave me pictures of her backyard in UK with the orbs. And I've been there. So I've seen them myself and experienced a bit of the spookiness. In fact, everybody told me, oh God, guts staying in her house. But I did stay there. So orbs, I know.
In one of my Facebook albums, there are some pictures of orbs. So you have an orb which is just a sphere of energy and that moves about freely, and you can say it goes into the afterlife. It has also got memory and charge. To express itself fully, it has to take form, right? So one form is this astral framework, which I've explained in the chapter in my book, and then that form comes into the fetus that accompanies us our whole lives. So these are the three terms that I use. When you're experiencing an out-of-body experience, people like to call it most popularly, the astral body. I had an astral experience,
Right.
and I astrally projected out of my body. There's a difference between dream astral and conscious astral. In my dreams, this was in my younger years. It went on for 2-3 years, where I thought they were just dreams, you see, and I would go off and I would remember the dreams, especially in the morning, not the whole dream. And I would go around my neighborhood to other places, even go to other cities, come back with some memories. And other cities I couldn't verify, but then the other neighborhoods and the buildings, getting into somebody's house, I actually went to those people's house and I could see that it was exactly what I saw in my dream. And I said, this is not possible, unless I went over there. So these are involuntary. You see, they're just dreams. You cannot control it. You cannot decide where you want to go. So that's what I call dream astral. But the ones that I did the experiments myself with fully conscious awareness, right? You're in control of it. You can decide where to go. It happens through intention.
If you consciously, of course, I believe you have to root yourself first on the earth, and then you consciously travel. Is that true?
People use certain techniques and an intention and imagination that they are rooting themselves toward. That is fine. But one of the main things that you need, the first step of the astral travel, is complete relaxation of the physical body to a state where you cannot even feel your physical body. That's the first step.
A person who meditates a lot, yeah.
Yes, you have to be very meditative. So if these two things happen, complete relaxation, close to zero thoughts going up and down, but a stronger intention to be out, that's the first step that happens. And some techniques give you some sounds like fa, sa. Some give you visualization of, there is a balloon on your roof, and every time you're trying to touch that balloon, you see, without moving your body. So that is one time I came out of my body with that. One time was with sound, and one time was trying to touch that balloon at the ceiling.
It must be such a beautiful experience, to experience more than see, that other kind of side which is hidden, that third brain or consciousness or whatever one may call it.
Yeah, so the astral world is not so physical like this. It doesn't have such sharp colors and definition. It's much more fluid. If you are with a feeling that you cannot see and you can only feel, then you will only feel. If you believe in that state that you can see also, then you see. If you feel that you can move and be somewhere else, then you will be somewhere else. 99% of people have fear. Even that little 10% of fear will make you come back into your body. You can't control that. Fear is so powerful, and you gravitate to that place, closest place that you know, home. And your first place of home is your physical body, so your back end. So I'm talking about that in the whole chapter of it in the upcoming spiritual book of why people don't want to be here and they want to be somewhere else.